Here we are today with the tutorial for the Retinal scanner. We've got the main body, the body top, and 4 buttons. If you haven't seen the in-depth look at the kit, go ahead and check out the link that's in the description. We also have a piece of acrylic and 3 tiny Waterslide decals. We're going to go ahead and start trimming these parts. They're basically seamless, but you do want to trim and sand the bottoms and these buttons. I'm using 60 grit paper and 500 grit paper. I'm going to start with 60 grit paper on the 4 buttons, and we're going to trim off the bottoms a bit and the sides a bit so that they fit into the slots on the side of the body. With the main pieces, I'm going to make this really nice and smooth at the bottom just by rubbing it on the 60 grit paper. And if you see anything that needs a little bit of cleanup, just go ahead and use this nice polishing paper to make everything smooth. If you're building up the open version, the deluxe version, you'll want to do the same thing to these riser pieces. The brace, the riser, and the little lens. Just give these guys a trim on the bottoms, and you're ready to paint. Before we do any painting, it's a good idea to wash all your parts. I don't use mold release when I cast these, but still, you want to wash to get rid of any kind of debris, dust, finger oils. I'm just using a cheap disposable toothbrush here. A little bit of Dawn with some water. Just give these guys a nice little scrub. After the parts are dry from your clean, I like to give everything a really light base coat of gray primer, just so I can make sure nothing else needs any further attention. If you're building the open deluxe version, these are the only 2 parts that are silver. A really nice part of this kit is this display plaque. This is on cardstock, so just trim this out and slide it into the acrylic display stand. And you have a really quick and easy display plaque. If you're building the open version, you want to trim out this monitor display. And you also want to trim out these circuit details for the riser piece. Here these are trimmed out. Circuit boards, graphic display. For painting the body, you're going to be using mostly gunmetal. This is Tamiya X10 gunmetal and Tamiya XF1 flat black. This is the first time I've ever done this, but I have to use a magnifier to show you that I'm painting the top part of this button silver. Little center of this one button that stands alone on one side of the ridge, and you've got to use magnifiers to get in here to do this right. But it has a silver protrusion right there. Lens piece for the extension for the open version, and this little ring that's the base of it looks to be white, so I'm using a micro brush to get this white. I'm just going to pre-paint this with a very dark green color, just so that if I overshoot or undershoot one of these edges, I'll have a little bit of color background as insurance. I just used two different kinds of masking tape to mask off these parts. I used automotive pinstripe masking to get the really fine detail and to like really get into those corners. That was on this side. This side was straight regular painter's tape. And here's this guy here. You can see I did the fine line using the pinstripe, and then I finished it off using the regular masking tape. Okay, we're going to spray these exposed areas with flat black. Okay, here is your riser plate, and you can see that I pre-painted that inside circuit area a very dark green, and here's our little graphic that we're going to glue on with some Elmer's clear adhesive, and that will glue into place into this slot just like this. If you were doing an open version, you'd go ahead and install the graphic first and then go ahead with your cover. And now it's just a matter of adhesing your 4 buttons into the proper slot locations and the top of the body. There's one more thing we need to do, and that's apply the Waterslide decals. You've got to look pretty closely, but you can see a circle and 2 squares. So I'm going to cut as close as I can to the edges of these shapes. Slide this to its proper position. It's about right there. Use a paper towel to wick away this moisture. Then we're going to set that decal with microset. It's a really important step. This will really seal this guy on here permanently. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the finished mini VK retinal eye scanner. Pretty easy build. This was a one-day build. But in this tutorial, I showed you steps on how to create the open version, and that will be using the monitor graphic, the riser, and the riser brace. Thanks for watching this tutorial. Subscribe and keep your eyes peeled for more content coming soon.